So this is Paul. Paul has always considered himself special, the kind of person destined for big things. He dreamed of writing a best-selling novel one week, launching a startup the next, and sometimes even standing on top of a literal mountain with the world at his feet. Yet, every day he found himself slouched on the couch, scrolling through his phone and binging videos while his grand plans remained exactly that, plans. You see, Paul was ambitious but lazy, full of potential, energy that never quite translated into action. In the back of his mind, Paul knew he was avoiding the very work that could make his life extraordinary. He would jot down ideas for that novel, but never actually write a chapter. You see what I mean? He would sketch up designs, but never learn how to code. Every night he felt that twinge of guilt as he set yet another lofty goal for tomorrow. And each afternoon that followed, he would watch tomorrow turn into never again. It was a frustrating circle of dreaming, delaying and repeating, and dreaming again and delaying again. And Paul was stuck at the bottom of a mountain of his own making. One Friday evening, Paul's best friend Marisol made an unexpected proposal. Hey, let's climb the Great Peak this weekend. Great Peak was the tallest mountain in the region. Its silhouette was visible from their own town. Whoa, a daunting snow-capped giant. Paul's first instinct was to refuse. A 5 a.m. start and a grueling hike didn't exactly fit into his lazy Saturday plans. But Marisol's eyes sparkled with excitement. She added, "Come on, it's an adventure. You have been talking about wanting to do something memorable. This is it." Paul opened his mouth, ready for an excuse. Like, "I'm not in shape, I have work, maybe next time." But the words caught in his throat. He remembered all the times he sat on the sidelines and missed opportunities because he couldn't be bothered. Here was a chance to literally climb a mountain. If that wasn't a metaphor for getting out of his rut, nothing was. Because before he could overthink it, Paul found himself nodding and saying, "All right, let's do it." That night, for once, he put effort into preparation. He dug out an old backpack, borrowed hiking boots, and even Googled training for beginners hike at midnight. The answer was obvious. Too late to train now. I should have been doing morning runs or something weeks ago, he thought, chiding himself. Anxiety fluttered in his stomach. Great Peak loomed in his imagination, as did all the tasks he had avoided. But along with the fear was a flicker of determination he hadn't felt in a long time. Early the next morning, Paul stood at the trailhead at the foot of the Great Peak. In the pale down light, the mountain summit was hidden by wispy clouds. The air was crisp, the smell of pine and possibility. Paul shivered, not just from cold, but from the realization of what he was about to attempt. Beside him, Marisol was stretching energetically, already comfortable in this challenge. Paul felt a pinch of envy. She always seemed to follow through on her plans. He was the one who lived in perpetual planning. He looked at the peak, then down at the winding path before them. It occurred to him that his trail was like a path of tasks he had been avoiding in life. The only way to reach the top was to take the first step, and then another, and then another. There were no shortcuts. He couldn't teleport himself to the summit, and he couldn't magically achieve his dreams without any effort. This mountain is my life, he thought. That summit is what I want, and this trail is all the work I have wanted to do. Ready? Marisol asked, snapping him out of his thoughts. Paul wasn't sure he felt ready, but nodded anyway. Ready. With the sunrise just peeking over the horizon, they began their ascent. The first steps were deceptively easy. A gentle incline under a canopy of evergreens. Paul found himself enjoying the crunch of soil and leaves under his boots. It isn't bad, he mused. Maybe I can handle this. For the first hour, the hike was almost pleasant. Paul's muscles warmed up and his nerves settled into a steady rhythm. He and Marisol chatted about light topics, shows they were watching, news from friends. Paul was surprised at how cheerful he felt. Starting had truly been the hardest part, just as he had always heard. Once in motion, his body and mind began to adapt to the challenge. He even cracked a joke. Hey, maybe I'll write about this hike in my novel when I actually write it. There was a hint of self-depreciation, but also hope. Marisol grinned. There you go. One chapter about a reluctant mountain climber coming up. Bowed by the early momentum, Paul imagined himself carrying this energy forward after the hike. He could see it, waking up Monday morning, finally starting chapter 1 of his book and signing up for that coding class. With each stride upward, his confidence grew. But as the trail wound up, it became steeper and rockier. The easy banter died down as both of them saved their breath for hiking. Paul's tights burned and his heartbeat thundered in his ears. By mid-morning, the sun was higher, and so were they. High enough that looking down made Paul a little dizzy. He hadn't expected to tire so soon. He took a swig from his water bottle, already half empty. Doubt started creeping in. What did I get myself into? He mumbled, hands on his knees during a short break. Marisol shot him an encouraging look. You're doing great. We're making a good time. She pointed out a wriggle above. Once we get up there, we will have an amazing view. Paul tried to smile, but he could only see how far above that ridge still looked. His old habit of wanting the result without the struggle gnawed at him. Part of him wanted to turn around, go home, and curl up with the comfort show. Forget this whole proving himself thing. But another part, a new spark, wanted to see this through. For once, he didn't want to disappoint himself. He remembered all the other mountains he had backed away from, and how each retreat had left him feeling smaller. He wasn't about to quit this one, not so early. With a deep breath, Paul pushed himself back upright and resumed the climbing. Each step was indeed getting harder, but each step was also taking him higher. By midday, they reached the ridge Marisol had mentioned. She was right. The view was stunning. The town below was a toyland. Far beyond it, the pathwork of forests and fields stretched to the horizon. Paul's chest swelled with a mix of exhaustion and pride. They had come so far. He could see the trail he had conquered, winding below like an old scar on the mountain's face. It struck him that every tough switchback and rocky path he had passed was necessary to bring them to the beautiful vantage point. Just like every challenging task is necessary to reach a goal, he thought. They ate a quick lunch of sandwiches sitting on a flat rock. As Paul rested, a chill crept into the air. He hadn't noticed it, the clouds gathering while they climbed. Now, gray fingers of fog started to snake around the ridge. Marisol frowned up at the sky. The forecast said light rains in the evening, but this looks a little bit more than that. Within minutes, a mist drizzle began. They exchanged uneasy glances. Continuing in rain would be miserable and slippery, but going back down now after coming so far, Paul felt his heart sink. It was as if the universe was testing him. How badly do you want this? We should keep moving carefully, Marisol said. If it gets worse, we will reevaluate. So they pressed on up into the clouds. The world narrowed to just the few steps of rocky trails ahead, and the sound of their footsteps. Raindrops ticked against their jackets, and Paul's muscles, which had tightened during the rest, protested at being forced to work again, now on wet, uneven terrain. Every step required more focus. His mind, free to wander in the morning sunshine, now fixated on the immediate challenges. A slippery rock here, a low branch there, a sudden gust of wind throwing off his balance. Then came the real trial. As they edged along a steeper section, the drizzle turned into cloud. Steady rain. The rain transformed into mud and lick stone. Paul's foot slipped and he fell to one knee, scraping it onto a jagged rock. Pain flared, and he let out a frustrated yell. It wasn't a serious injury, but it was enough to break his morale. This is crazy, he sputtered as Marisol helped him up. His poncho was soaked and water trickled down his neck. They huddled under a ledge of rock for a momentary respite from the downdrop. Paul's knee troubled and his confidence waned. Maybe he should just turn back, he admitted quietly. I mean, look at this weather. It's not safe. Marisol was quiet for a moment. She was shivering, her hair plastered to her forehead. It was indeed risky to continue. But the summit can't be too far now, could it? She peered upward, trying to judge the distance through sheets of rain and fog. Before she could answer, a new sound emerged beyond the patter of rain. A cheerful whistling. Out of the mist appeared an older man with a walking stick coming down the trail. He must have summited early and was now descending despite the weather. The man, probably in his 60s, wore a bright yellow rain jacket and a big grin, as if they were a light morning shower and not a minor tempest. Lovely day for a hike, isn't it? The old man chuckled as he carefully picked his way past them. You two alright? Marisol nodded. We okay, just deciding if we should keep going. The man paused, sizing them up. His eyes were kind. The top's not far, he said. Perhaps another hour. maybe less. Hardest part is this step rocky stretch. After that is a gently slope to the summit. I won't tell you what to do, but I'll say this: I'm glad I didn't turn back. The view up there, he whistled appreciatively and added, worthy of every step in the rain. With a friendly nod, he continued in his way, disappearing into the fog below. His parting words hung in the air, worthy of every step. Paul felt something warm ignite in his chest. If that man could do it and still smile, who was he to quit now? Sure, Paul was soaked, exhausted and aching, but suddenly his discomfort seemed small compared to the regret he would feel watching Netflix at home later, knowing he had come too close only to give up. He realized that the ache of pushing forward was temporary, but the ache of quitting would stick around for longer. He had been avoiding pain and effort for years, and what had it brought him? Nothing but dreams, deferred and guilty conscience. He turned to Marisol, who was already giving him an "I think we should try" kind of look. Paul managed a grin. "One more hour?" he said. "We've got this far. I don't want to come back just to finish what we could finish today." Marisol's face broke into a proud smile. "Let's do it, one step at a time." So my friends, this story is a very interesting one. I hope you're liking it. It's already very long, so I guess we are going to have it a continuation next week. Thanks for watching. If you like it, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss it when I continue with the second part next Sunday or even earlier. So let's see. See you. Bye bye.